Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land, X land, and Kick land, but not quite Twitch land or Rumble land yet. But that's gonna come though, I think eventually, just to branch out a bit. I can't really say that Kick is being super duper successful for me, but I'm not really trying that hard, and I need to actually figure out how to get monetized on X to make it work for me. But anyway, hello guys. I hope y'all are having a great night, having a great day, whichever it is. It's been a little while, and a lot of shit's happened. So might as well just dive right on into it. Some of you may have heard a couple weeks ago that we lost Neil Coates. He was a good guy. And I'm not going to lie and tell you that, like, oh, yeah, I was his best friend and, I loved him more than anybody in the world and all this, that, and the other. In fact, I never would have met him if it weren't for Grimm. But having said that, I did get to meet Neil, and I did get to talk to him a little bit outside of the games. And, of course, he gamed with us. And he was something else. I mean, he was super smart, for one thing. But he was also very irreverent and funny and very stoic in the way that he approached his illness. I remember he was mentioning that, he was going to have some eye surgery at one point, but he didn't really elaborate. And the next time I saw him, I said, well, how's your eye, Neil? And he's like, oh, it's floating in a jar somewhere in a laboratory. So that's just the kind of humor that he had. I mean, he took it all in stride, and the last email I got from him, he was talking about getting treatments, and I didn't realize how serious it was, and he didn't make it extremely serious. He just said that his treatments were going to be starting at about the same time as our game, so he didn't want to be jumping in and then possibly getting pulled out due to treatments. And I said, okay, well, we'll get you on the next one. Well, the next one obviously isn't going to feature him either because he passed away. And it's funny because I've lost quite a few friends this year, Neil included, of course, but there have been others. And at times I'm wandering around and I'll see somebody who resembles them and I'll instantly just shoot back to something I remember about them. And it's hard, man. It's hard. I hate losing people, and I don't think I'm ever really going to get comfortable with it or used to it. And maybe I shouldn't. I don't think anybody should. I guess. I mean, you get to the point where you could talk about it, of course, but it's so funny because it's like, while they were still alive, I didn't miss them all that much. It's not like I was calling them up constantly to talk to them or see how they were doing and all these kind of things, because it never really occurred to me. It's like, well, he's probably doing okay, and he's just getting along with his life, and he doesn't need me to bother him right now. And I guess that's kind of where I come from on my friendship mentality. Is most of the time, unless it's somebody I know who is suffering, I tend to hold a nice outlook for them, like, oh, well, I haven't seen such and such in a while, but I'm sure he's doing fine. He's probably doing great. I don't want to bother him. And that's my whole thing. Is I don't want to bother him. I don't want to bother these people. Like, my presence is a bother. They're supposed to be my friends, but I feel like I bother them. Is that normal? I mean, I don't know. But I tell you, I do regret not having engaged these people more before they died. It's just, I always think, oh, we're going to have plenty of time, or there will be an opportunity, or there will be opportunities, or I'll see them again. And lo and behold, those things never happen. They never come back, and you lose all that opportunity that you had while they were still alive to tell them, how you felt about them, or the things that you enjoyed about them, or just sit down and laugh and talk about something that's funny and pertinent to what you're interested in. So I guess my advice to y'all is, if there's somebody out there that you know and you care about, don't skip the opportunity. Don't worry if you're going to bother them or not. If you bother them, you bother them. And you can always open up your conversation like, hey, I hate to bother you, but how are you doing? Or, hey, I hate to bother you, Just, feel it out. Let them know that you care about them, because you're not always going to have that chance. And as I say this, I have a cousin, my favorite cousin, in fact. He used to treat me like a little brother. We played together all the time as kids. We saw Empire Strikes Back together. He is dying right now. He has stage 4 cirrhosis of the liver, which, if you look it up, you'll find out that is end stage. There's nothing they can do for him. I'm not even sure if he could get a transplant at this point, and it would still save him. And there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, I talked to him on the phone briefly not too long ago, but he was kind of in a hurry to get off, because apparently this illness makes you very fatigued. And I wonder how many opportunities I'm going to have to, talk to him again before it's over. I mean, you talk to my aunt and you think he's going to keel over at any moment. But I think it'll be a slow degradation, which it's already becoming that way as he gets worse and worse. And finally, he'll expire. And that'll be it. All those memories are all I'll have of him. So, yeah, a lot of shit on my mind lately. Not good. I'm not in a good space, I guess. But I'm going to put on a cheerful face and come hang out with you guys and my other friends here, and at least let them know that I care about them and care about all you. So let's bring them on. Hey, Mr. Grimm.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going, Dawes?
It's going good.
Daniel, it's good to see you, bud.
What's up?
Timing is fantastic. It was only about 15 minutes ago. About 15 minutes ago, the battery on my drill died, so I had to stop scrubbing rust off of the 280 just in time for the weekend geek.
It knew that we needed you, because I have a good question for y'all today.
Sponsored by DeWalt.
What's that? Sponsored by DeWalt. And Savo, you've been turning out some really awesome art lately. I've really been enjoying it on X. Yep. I don't know where Castor is today. He hasn't talked to me or anything, but your connection's a little spotty there, Daniel. But okay. Here's a good game-related question before we get things underway. And I owe Bill the Dungeon Delver for this one, because he posted up on X. He was asking, he said, would you allow players to build a magic sword or an intelligent sword? And if so, how would you let them do it? And this kind of stuff. And my immediate and just, knee-jerk response was, never, ever let players build magic items. Ever. I don't care if the rules say they can. I don't care if there are feat trees that let them, or racial abilities that let them, or whatever. Do not let players build magic items ever. I mean, that's just... But here's where I'm coming from on this. I have been in many, many games where the DM was pretty permissive and the player in question was very forceful in his spell casting. And he always plays a caster, and he's always building magic items. And we're not talking just like necessarily your standard run-of-the-mill magic items. Thanks to having access to tons and tons of other books from other creators, he has a whole plethora of spells and magic items that he can build using his crafting abilities. And then he's got it automated almost to the point where it doesn't really cost him anything. I mean, at one point, he had created a spell that mass manufactured masterwork bows, and then he had created another spell that automatically sold them through an interdimensional market to some other realm. Yeah, the expression on Das Wolfen's face is kind of... That's pretty much... Yeah, that's how ridiculous it was. But more importantly, it's not so much that I see magic items as unbalancing the game. It is just the fact that how soon players get magic items and the combination of magic items that they get is what unbalances the game. Because when you have a fighter who is, tricked out in, the best armor with all the pluses possible, min-maxed, and the best sword or whatever with the best stats and shit possible, but then he's also carrying a wand of cure and a boots of speed and gauntlets of ogre power and all this crap, and it's basically like he's not only is he a super tank, but he's a super tank that requires no outside assistance. I mean, like clerics don't have to heal him; he heals himself. And then, of course, this is compounded with the fact that there are feats in all the games at this point that also let you break the game that combine with these things to make it worse, and possibly archetypes, prestige classes, racial abilities, etc., etc., etc. I mean, it is just... Players already have all this crap at their disposal to begin with to bend or break the rules. So letting them build their own magic items to overpower the game just is a horrible idea, and I've seen it happen over and over and over. And to make matters even worse, this player is one of those kinds who not only will he eat up all the time building magic items during the game, but he doesn't want to go out and adventure or do anything. He's just basically stockpiling the nuclear arsenal and using it to destroy anything the DM throws at him. So my question for y'all is, yeah, he Mansa Musa the game world. Yes, pretty much. So my question is to y'all, what do you think? I mean, are you okay with these things, or do you have an opinion on them?
I have absolutely no issue with players crafting. None at all. And
really?
Well, at the risk of sounding like my mortal enemy, this is one of those things where if you're going to not follow rules as written, you better seriously understand the implications and make the appropriate adjustments, because there's balance that's built into it. Like, for instance, the 3.5e system for crafting magic items, when you look at the requirements to craft specific magic items, congratulations. If you're trying to make an arsenal, that's the entirety of your character's life. And I'm talking about if you're not human. If you're human, you're going to be dead before you've outfitted anybody, because of the length of time it takes to create stuff, the skills that are necessary, the expense that's necessary that has to be spent up front, and the experience point cost. And you have to keep in mind that to craft magic arms, armor, wondrous items, whatever, generally nothing you can create is any more powerful than an ability you already have. So, for instance, you have to know and be able to cast a certain spell in order to create a certain magic item, so that has a similar effect. So you take it, like, for instance, if you're going to do milestone leveling or something of that nature, like a lot of us do, you have to have something in there that compensates for the fact that you no longer have experience points that you can pay. to create that item, and thus ensure that you never level up again. Completely depower yourself, crafting all these arms and armor. There are safeguards that are put in place in the system. And
I don't know. My experience is that these things
then
don't work.
it's also incumbent on you as a DM. Well, I mean, are you paying attention to the material costs, the things that are necessary to make them, the crafting that needs to happen in order to create these items? Are you as a GM curating their access to certain things? Because just like we say, there should never be magic items are us in town. Where are you getting flawless pearl are us and perfect diamond are us? Where are we getting these things in order for them to craft these items? Are they out here casting wish so that they can have the diamond that they need to make a magic sword? I mean, you already have a god among men to make those things in the first place. And I'm absolutely on a side note, because I know it comes from the same place, the same comment, is that, which, by the way, you're stealing my content, man. I had you wrote down for intelligence to dump that and not let players craft stuff. Like, intelligent items are probably one of my favorite things on the planet. I love intelligent items, because intelligent items are an NPC.
Yeah.
All right. Congratulations. You created a badass, super powerful flail, but because it's so powerful, it has a really high ego score. It doesn't respect you. And now I have Macho Man Randy Savage imbued into your flail. And every time you're trying to make a diplomatic solution to some powerful enemy, he's talking about hitting them with the axe handle from the top rope and being the cream of the crop.
Oh, yeah. All right, we're not gonna negotiate with this orc. You're gonna smash me right into his face and show him who's top, because the cream always rises to the top. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you got to get it there. It's like, I'm gonna tell you right now, Baron, I hate you. I hate your guts, and I swear I'm gonna take the steel chair. I'm gonna put it to the back of your head, and then I'm gonna climb the cage because I'm the champion. And it's like, damn it, dude! I needed that passage to that continent over there. How am I supposed to get to the Dragon's Lair if you just pissed off the guy that owns the Navy?
Okay, now, yeah, I could see an intelligent item being something that that puts the GM kind of back in the driver's seat. But you come from the 3-point school just like I do, and also the first edition Pathfinder school, where all it really took was you need a mastercraft component, a set number of gold pieces, and time, which could be reduced by having apprentices and all these other stuff working with you as well.
And the spells and the other material components, depending on how powerful it is, and 1 day per 1,000 GP.
But the fact is, it's like, in Pathfinder, they had a, create, or they had a spell that allowed you to masterwork anything. So,
Pathfinder sucks anyway. Pathfinder's flaming hot garbage. This is, Pathfinder 1 was basically, hey, we got this great system over here, but how about we just make sure that we take all the exploitable components and make them extra exploitable?
Oh, boy.
It's basically like the worst of the worst power gaming 3.5 players got together and homebrewed a way to break the game more. Pathfinder is trash.
I love Pathfinder as an idea, but yeah, in play, it's like, hey. Okay. Joss Wolfen, what do you think?
Well, as far as intelligent items, there's a component that you have to make an intelligent item, and that's a soul. So, how do you attain one of those?
I mean, okay, that's a fair point. I mean, the super duper powerful magic items are kind of still out of reach, but most of the magic items I find that break the game are the little ones.
Yeah, you just gotta. I use the crafting rules out of the rule cyclopedia from Basic.
Okay.
And
yeah,
they're really strict on how you do it. I mean, if you want to make a common magic item, you have to know the formula. You have to go figure out how to get the formula. If you don't know the item, you have to spend time, XP, gold, and quest time researching on how to make the formula to make this item.
Oh, yep. I know
That's
something.
before you even make the item.
Mercurius for Australian $1. Hey, dude, I'm glad to see you. Let me throw you one. Let me see. I got some of my new ones here. I don't think you guys have seen these yet.
Unfortunately, you don't have a Macho Man clip because Sabo was asking if Macho Man's an idiom.
Yeah, you know what? I need to get a Macho Man clip. I definitely do now. But let's golf clap.
Golf clap? Golf clap.
Yeah, there. Some now. One of our guys who has joined us on occasion, Lord Fulmine, did show me pages from the second edition DM's guide on how to create magic items, and it is a lot more nebulous, and it definitely requires doing some questing and jumping through some hoops and doing all kinds of stuff. And he stated quite simply, he said that the problem is not magic item creation so much as the fact that from third edition on, magic item creation just became, a systematized system, not anything grand or epic or worthy of questing for. It's just kind of like, yeah, just add the sugar, put in the water, mix the formula, say the magic words, boom. Now you've got, elixir of fuck you. I don't know.
I think
I
that's
don't know.
called tequila.
I disagree with that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Grim.
Grim, what do you think?
It depends on the game, really, and the game setting. It depends is always the answer to any question, really.
All true.
But if you're playing something like Iron Kingdoms, where magic is technology and technology is magic, then, building your own gear or customizing your own kit by swapping out rune plates and so on, it's all part of the game, really. And in the kind of critical roleized current 5th edition sort of paradigm, magic seems to be common enough in the sort of Forgotten Realms style. Everything's dripping with magic items. Yeah, people using +1 daggers as letter openers and shit like that.
Yeah.
But that's the way that's developed and established itself. So, that's another thing altogether. Other settings are less high magic or less common magic. I always liked the way Raji went about it in Lamentations, saying that there shouldn't be any generic magic items. They kind of went against that in a lot of the adventures and so on. But the idea was that even the humblest of magic items should have some kind of special story of some kind around it, So it's not just a +1 dagger. It's a +1 dagger because, that guy spent his whole life stabbing people in the back, and then was stabbed in the back with his own dagger, and his soul became infused with the knife or whatever. So now it's a +1 dagger because of that. So I tend to think that a lot of magic items should be kind of like that. Relics from times past, or, if you need a sword of dragon slaying, you need to go into the tomb of this ancient hero who was renowned for slaying dragons, and his sword maybe has some of his resonance or soul left in it. And so if you claim that sword, that'll give you an edge against dragons, things like that. But then we also have the side of it like potions,
Yeah.
and scrolls, which should be more common because it's basically alchemy a bit more than it is magic, though D&D differentiates between the two. Because to make the game survivable, at least in the older school games, you kind of need access to things like health potions and so on. So I don't get so uptight about lesser items like that, like expendable items. That's less of a problem, I think, overall. And they feel more prosaic. It's like elves use magic to make bread, for fuck's sake, lembas, right?
True.
So it can be humble enough items in those cases, but also within Tolkien, like the great swords were all forged in the deep past, and the art of doing it is almost gone from the world, apart from Elrond's able to reforge the sword there. So yeah, it depends on a lot of factors. I think the ubiquity and prevalence of magic items in a lot of modern settings is just because it's a consequence of that being how people play the game a lot.
Well, I mean, okay, one-shot magic items don't bother me too much, and I don't think they're really unbalance the game too much. I mean, even if you got a wizard that's got 400 scrolls of fireball or whatever like that, it's they're still one-shot use magic items. Or, the fighter has 400 potions of healing. Again, it's just like a one-shot magic item, and it kind of probably helps the cleric out a little bit too. But I'm talking about more like the progression of magic items. And this is what I mean when I say magic items and magic item creation breaks the game, because usually what I have noticed is it's not a single magic item that does it. I mean, a fighter with a suit of magic plate mail that's proof against lightning or something like that isn't going to break your game unless every single thing in your game is lightning based and can no longer harm him. But it kind of starts small. It's like the first rule they usually break is the encumbrance rule by getting bags of holding or similar items. And then usually it's, rings of protection. Because now the mages can wear these without penalties, and then so can some of the other classes without penalties and having to wear heavier armor and things like that. I've seen the worst of this come from an item that was called the monk's robe or the monk's belt. And that item not only gave you the monk armor class abilities, but it also gave you their hand-to-hand combat abilities, their damages and stuff. So now you've got a mage who ignores encumbrance penalties and basically has the AC and the fighting ability of a monk. And then it just kind of starts snowballing from there. It's like once we have this covered, now we start moving to other things. We have the bag of tricks, so now we can throw animals and start fighting by proxy every round. And then we get something else where it's it starts snowballing to the point where you have just a guy who's just covered in magic items who can basically just solve any problem with either his magic items or his inherent magic. And the DM I've played under the most hated magic items initially, always. He never gave them out as any kind of prize or any kind of a thing that you found. And if you did find something that was magic or plus, it usually was really hard to find. But his thing was, and these are words that have always stuck with me, is the fact he said that when you start building a character that's just covered with magic items, the magic items are playing you. You're not playing the character anymore. You're just playing the magic items. I don't know. What do y'all think?
Well, I would think that there's a couple of things. There are a lot to unpack there. One is you got to remember the verisimilitude of the world. You got to remember to be realistic and logical. If you're in Forgotten Realms, as Grimm pointed out, and essentially prisoners in the deepest dungeon are making +1 shanks out of pieces of their bed frame, then you have to keep in mind that when you go take your 6 months to pound out that magic hammer in the bowels of the mountain, whoever you're up against is doing the same thing and making the same kind of crap.
Now that is true.
And I'm going to dovetail here because he mentioned the T word. He said Tolkien. Mm-hmm. And I will point this out. One thing that is important, and I think it dovetails into D&D in what I think is an important way. yeah, all the a lot of your powerful magic swords and rings and stuff were made in the deep past and whatnot in Tolkien. But there's a couple of things to think about there. One is most of them were either A, made by what is functionally a demigod, like the rings of power are made by Sauron and the grandson of Fëanor. All right, and there's a very distinct difference in characters like Galadriel, Glorfindel, and all the elves that came over, all the high elves that came over from Aman to fight Morgoth and Beleriand that made these swords and whatnot, and Gondolin and whatnot. They literally went into the presence of the gods of the world and learned directly from powerful angelic beings how to craft these things. So they're essentially divine magic. They're not a wizard put this stuff together. It's literally, this is from the gods. And that distance from the presence of the gods is what weakens that power. Same thing can happen in your game. I think I've always associated magic item creation far more with clerics than with wizards.
Huh.
Because I'm a low magic guy myself. But when you start talking about magic, it all kind of comes back down to that, there's trade-offs. You put on a monk's belt, there's another belt you can't wear. You're wearing a ring of protection, you're not wearing a ring of fireballs or a ring of wizardry or a ring of three wishes. And you're giving up something to have that particular versatility. And based on the overall magic level of the world, the guy you're up against is going to have just as much, if not more, access, because generally he's more powerful than the party. Your, quote, big, bad, evil guy is 15th level if your party's 10th. So now your 15th level guy and his 10th level minions have had all the same amount of time and all the same amount more resources to create more powerful magic items than what your characters are creating.
I mean, yeah, that's a fair point. The big risk, I suppose, becomes like when and if they do finally beat the big bad, now they have all these magic items too.
True.
Now, the other thing I absolutely despise, even worse than the magic item creation, is the magic item store. Look at all you guys are shaking your head. Yeah, see, yeah. Let's just walk into the magic item store and go buy those boots of leaping and springing and the cloak of elvenkind and yeah, look at Daz. Yeah, see,
it's fine if it makes sense. I mean, if magic is that prevalent in the world that you have, you have magical Saks Fifth Avenue where the elves have an entire rack of cloaks of elvenkind. Yeah, that's fine. But guess what? Now the town guard are walking around in boots of elvenkind and cloaks of elvenkind and bracers of armor and stuff because it's that easy. Yep. It's like having a high definition television. Are we in the 90s or are we in the 2025s? Because in 2025s, there's guys I literally saw a guy who is homeless at a homeless encampment who had a 30-inch flat screen hooked up to a generator. Okay, he's homeless. Damn. And he has a high definition TV. When in the 90s, like that was the thing your rich friends' parents had. And we argued about, do I really need to see the scratches on the football helmet? I don't think I need that much definition in my life to pay that much money.
Mm-hmm. Well, homeless doesn't necessarily mean, you left home with nothing. It just means you don't have a house or you don't have a permanent address.
It means you need to get the hell out of the woods behind my Walmart's what it means.
Yeah. I mean, God help me, but I mean, if I got kicked out of my house today, it's not like all my shit disappears. I've still got all of that. Now I have to find some place to keep it where it won't get stolen.
By an adventuring party that raided your tent.
Yeah, literally. I still wouldn't wish to be homeless, but yeah, I mean, I remember when we drove through Denver a few years ago, we saw, guys with like fucking table saws and shit sitting out there, and I'm just kind of like, they had these things hooked up to power? So, but I don't know.
There's some stupid stuff that ends up there. The one sentence version of the story is I had the pleasure to work some security for some job sites after Hurricane Katrina when there were still looters and stuff about.
Oh boy!
And I literally saw a looter hauling a French suit of like half plate armor that he had
Whoa.
swiped out of a museum. And I'm like, you're homeless and you basically have to float down the street on a door because the place is flooded and the levees are broke. And you chose suit of armor as the thing you were going to steal. I mean, I guess you could say at least he could put some WD-40 on it and it wouldn't be as worthless as the TV that's been soaked.
I mean, assuming he could fit in it, I guess he'd be kind of well protected against the other homeless people.
And you're set if there's a zombie apocalypse. So
Yeah.
He could have just gotten on the bus and gone to Houston, but he decided to stay in town.
Oh, don't get me started on that Houston stuff, man. I have a friend who lives in Houston, and he told me what Houston was like after Katrina and all the refugees made it there.
Oh yeah,
and what was left afterward.
Oh yeah, the Contrinians.
Yes, but anyway, so are you still gonna make fun of me on your show about magic items, or?
I think I have to.
You have to.
I have to be a little bit nicer though.
You'll have to be a little bit nicer because we've discussed it a little bit, and you kind of see where I'm coming from. I mean,
now I'm going to have to point it out and put a link to the stream and the channel. And you just made more work for me. Now I got to put one of them little tag thingies where people can click at the top of the screen. Watch
you actually have to link to a bigger YouTuber. Ain't that sweet? But that's okay. I'll return the favor. When you get it posted, I'll link back to yours. So.
There we go.
We'll do a little bit of reach around there.
I think it's called a collab, not a reach.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Oh my gosh. But
it's only a reach around if it's Jenny D and D&D Shorts doing it.
I don't think I'd refuse, but just kind of depends on what she wanted to do afterward.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Nah, that's true. We really can't. We really can't. Although, I don't know. I don't think I get too excited over, something like this. That's pretty accurate V cosplay.
Certainly dystopian.
Yes.
And you're so fat that you throw a right cross and it doesn't actually get across your body. I'm not particularly concerned about your martial arts skills.
Well, that and the fact that her kick was like, I mean, I like low kicks because they're effective and most people don't see them coming, but that's not a case of you meant to throw a low kick. That's I can't kick any higher because my belly is literally in the way.
At least you didn't try any jump kicks.
Oh, she would have broken the camera and probably a hip. But here's another example right here, and you'll smell the burn on this one.
I want to speak to your manager. And why is that other officer standing so far away from me?
His body cam is on. He's just trying to get you in frame.
Emotional damage.
If there wasn't AI, that would be fun.
You think it's AI?
Definitely.
You do?
Yes.
Why?
It is.
It can't be. I mean, this is America. People are that silly.
I know, but that has the whiff of AI to it.
You think so?
Yes.
I'll have to go back and look at it.
I can tell by the pixels and having seen some Sora in my time.
Wait, no. Okay, let's look at it again. Now that you've made that, we can't let that sit there.
Speak to your manager. And why is that other officer standing so far away from me?
His body cam is on. He's just trying to get you in frame.
Even said Sora.
Emotional damage.
The Sora logo flashed up on the right-hand side of the screen.
So it's AI?
Yeah.
Damn, but that was good, though.
Well, it's kind of like anytime the Babylon Bee puts out a headline, they've stopped being satire and they've turned into prophecy.
Yes.
Like, when we get to the point where we're like, did that really happen or was that AI when it's something that ridiculous?
I mean, it's true, though. Okay. Well, let's see. We've got about 20 minutes left. Let's take a look at something role-playing related. If this thing will open for me. I'm having more problems with this PC right now, which is I have a brand new one. Well, it's a used brand new one. But I haven't finished transferring everything to it yet, so it's taking me a while to get it set up. But hopefully when it is, it'll be a real humdinger. But Grim has already mentioned this in his latest video, so I figured let's take a look at it and see what we think. Share screen and look, it's role-playing related.
I'm waiting on my hard copy.
Are you?
Yeah.
I need to get a hard copy, but I don't know how to at this point.
Instead, you just got hard.
Well, I mean, I feel like I got kind of rode hard because they must have paid a lot for this license because this thing was like $33 after everything was said and done. But take a look at it real quick. Skydon Game Studios. Oh, and this is not the latest edition. There was apparently another edition that has been released that corrected some typos and errors, so I didn't get that one yet. What is Phantasy Star? Now, Phantasy Star is like one of my favorite role-playing games ever made. I didn't get to play the first one, but I started on 2, and then I played 3 and 4, and I even played PSO, which is really repetitive, but it was kind of fun.
Still fun.
Sort of. Yeah, but PSO really wasn't a role-playing game anymore. It was more of just an MMO. So we have D20 tests and the core mechanic. So we have typical difficulty classes. We have advantage and disadvantage. We have actual abilities. So we have strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, charisma. So far, it kind of sounds very much like 5th edition.
It probably is. I mean, let's face it. I hate to, throw shade towards the good old-fashioned indie RPG, community, though I kind of think this is beyond indie. But how many quote-unquote game developers? I could sound like another one of my enemies today. Well, let's tap into our inner Condor DM real quick. How many of these game designers are literally just doing design by grabbing 5th edition with the OGL and slapping a different coat of paint on it?
I mean, that is true. Savo asks, is there an RPG that has a generic techno fantasy setting? Fabula Ultima, the techno fantasy book, actually. Well, yeah, it does have a kind of a generic techno fantasy setting.
Yeah.
And Grim actually compared that one, or actually he compared Fabula Ultima to Phantasy Star, which kind of was my idea too. But they actually have a game of it now. So they have a fate pool. Then we have social interactions. We have vision and light, obscured areas. Yeah, they're putting all the rules first, which is fine. It really does feel like D&D, though. I mean, with tremor sense, infravision.
Yeah, it's even laid out like D&D.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shame.
I think there is a missed opportunity there, too. Mm-hmm. And this is just my opinion. And I know this is basically a clone of a clone. We're going to end up with Gary from Fallout here. But if you're going to do anything other than a pure fantasy setting, if you're going to do any kind of sci-fi, cyberpunk, modern sci-fantasy, techno-fantasy, anything like that, basically anything beyond the Renaissance period fantasy, honestly, I think you should be copying Everyday Heroes, not 5th edition straight up. It's modified enough, and it's modified for a very good reason, because Dungeons and Dragons, regardless of edition, has never been particularly good for anything that is not stock fantasy. It doesn't translate well into modern. And Everyday Heroes is a pretty damn good 5th edition system adaptation to handle less magic and more technology.
Uh-huh. I do like these dehydration, malnutrition, food and water needs table. I don't think I've seen that in anything lately, other than Ashes Without Number.
Drink.
Yep. Hey, had to bring up a Crawford something, right?
I'm a bit disappointed in the artwork.
Yeah, I am too. And they had a really good opportunity to have like all the classic Japanese artwork in here, and instead they just kind of
Didn't.
I hate to call it AI, but well,
It's not, but it might as well be.
yeah.
It's so generic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of common these days anyway.
Well, it sucks.
Yeah, the actions and everything. One thing about this game is it looks like it's really easy to get into if you're already used to Dungeons and Dragons. That's for sure. Oh no, here we go. Yeah, here's how when you're casting techniques that have TP costs, technique points. So they're using a mana system basically for casting abilities. Yeah, I agree. Oh, and there's my favorite character in the whole Phantasy Star universe right there. Miyu. She was in Phantasy Star 3. Actually, Phantasy Star 3 is still my favorite. Because it was so different from everything else I've ever played.
Still haven't got my dang Shin Megami Tensei book.
Yeah, me either.
Apparently there's some delay, but I don't know what's going on.
Uh-huh. They probably sold a whole bunch of copies to somebody. The hit points can be restored by using techniques or resting. When you receive healing, add the restored hit points to your... Okay, yeah. We know about that. So, resting is. Temporary hit points... Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
We'll have to pull up full screen in the hurricane here.
Oh, hang on. I'll...
T-shirt. Zoom in and enhance.
Long rest.
Yes.
Oh, dang it.
It has come back. It is 5th edition, baby. We have long rest and we have short rest. It is modified 5th edition, guys.
Because they could not just leave it at day.
Let's actually take a look at the character creation, see what that's like. Okay, here we go. Session 0, press start. Haha. Look at that. They stole that straight from Fabula Ultima. Characters by design, concepts, origin. So you have professions, which, okay, that's very D&D-ish. You have assignment, you got determining abilities. Let's see. Assigning points, assigning values, rolling ability scores. Roll 6d10 and consult the table below. Each d10 result provides a score value to assign between your 6 abilities. So, okay, these ability scores are really low.
Yeah,
well, it makes sense.
+2.
They're just concerned with the pluses, not the actual numerical value of what your strength or anything is, I guess.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there have been arguments for years that, like in D&D, instead of going from 1 to or from 3 to 18, that why do we not just make it 1 to 8 or what would be 1 to 9 for your one unit for each level of bonus?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even here, hit points are 10 plus Constitution modifier, 8 plus Constitution modifier, 6 plus Constitution modifier. So you get a range of hit points from 6 to 10, depending on how good or bad your score is. And then you finalize your origin, describe your persona. Oh, and we got level advancements with save bonuses and max skill ranks. That's very 3rd edition. Yeah. It's kind of like they stole stuff from various D&D editions and just kind of made a game out of it. And I'm like, I can't fault them 100% for it because, Kevin Crawford essentially does the same thing, but,
There's an argument that that's at least better than just making a straight-out clone.
Yeah.
Yeah. A Franken game.
Yep.
And the
Franken
question
game.
is the real nuts and bolts of the issue is going to be, what are the reasons why they chose Mechanic A from 3rd edition, Mechanic B from 1st edition, and Mechanic C from 5th edition? If they actually put the thought into those different decisions, and they're made with a real intentionality that goes beyond simply, well, I remember I like this better, or some people like this better, then it can be a really good thing, because maybe this works better in the Phantasy Star motif than what's stock 5th edition.
Yeah, but I mean, what gets me is the Phantasy Star games have their own system already that they could have, without too much difficulty, taken and translated into a modern role-playing game. But you see here's our actual first racial type, and it says medium is 4 to 9 feet tall. I don't know about you, man, but I mean, if I saw a 9 foot tall dude walking around, that guy's not medium. That's a big dude. So +1 bonus to defense, 30-foot speed, immune to poisons, diseases, drink, breathe, sleep. Yeah, these are all mechanical things because it's an automaton. Special vision. Oh, and then you have variants, androids without techniques, and many, androids can't cast techniques.
Where are my fan service robo nurses?
Yeah, and Phantasy Star 3 Generations of Doom, yes. Mew could cast techniques, and so could Ren. Oh, and they have a recover action where they regain hit points. Here's your regular bog standard human. They have adaptable, so they get a proficiency, 2 additional fate points, 2 ranks of skill. Kind of like the standard human stuff. It's like, we gave them more stuff they could do, but they can't really match all the other races' cool stuff.
Just more adaptable,
basically.
That's not entirely the truth. I think we see that a lot with the quote unquote humans. It's like, oh, they don't have this cool and they don't have that cool. They also don't have this minus or that minus. I think people forget that human is the default. So all your special abilities and penalties are just, what do you deviate from human?
Well, okay. Look at the human traits, okay? They're, nothing special here. They have adaptable, so they get a proficiency with a tool or a vehicle, 2 additional fate points, and they have 2 more ranks versus +1 on defense from armor and immune to poisons and diseases. Don't eat, drink, or breathe. Don't sleep. Which comes with the following drawbacks. You're susceptible to attacks and other effects that affect automatons and robots, and stabilize when you're at 0 hit points. Basically, you don't die. Oh, and you have special vision on top of that. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I think the benefits outweigh the penalties there. And we have Newmans. Like, that's what's her name? Is that Nye? Yeah, it's Nye. Well, they have innate casting. So they have techniques to begin with. They have keen senses, quick reflexes. I mean, this is way better than a human.
Space elves. Yeah.
Well, they're like people who have like beast genes and stuff like that. They're biological experiments. This character is Nye from Phantasy Star 2, and or possibly Phantasy Star 4, because they also had a Nye. But she died pretty tragically, and they couldn't bring her back because of her genetics. And then there's additional species options. There's the Dizolians. I don't remember them. The Motavians, I remember. Muscats. Oh, yeah. These are from Phantasy Star 1. Meow.
Smurf.
Yeah, basically. Background descriptions. Celebrity insight. Proficiencies, disguise, kit, equipment. Yeah.
If you want to let me play a Cabot from Tenchi Muyo, then that would be okay.
Well, yeah.
I can turn into a spaceship.
Grim, I mean, after seeing it so far, I mean, would you actually really want to run this?
Not hugely. I'm actually rather disappointed that it's just another D20 variant.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would probably look at it more for the background information and stuff, because I only played Fantasy Star Online 1 and 2.
Oh, blasphemy.
Well, I
You-
couldn't
you
even
gotta-
play the first one online because it was on the GameCube and you couldn't get the modem over here. So
Uh-huh. Well, the nice thing is you can play Phantasy Star 2 and 3 if you have a Steam account, because they sell it on their Genesis platform for cheap.
cool.
But Phantasy Star 1, yeah, the only way you could play that is an emulator. And boy, that was hard to find even back in the day. Because who had a Master System?
Wait, you
I
can
did.
play Fantasy Star online.
It's not the same, though.
I believe it's on PlayStation 3 that I have it. There is the Sega Genesis like Classics collection that has a bunch of Sonic games and stuff like that on it. It has Phantasy Star and I believe Phantasy Star 2.
Sabo says, are there any settings where humans are not the default, where they are the ancients, or they are not, or they are the biggest or smartest?
Earth.
Middle Earth, maybe. Merp.
Cyberpunk.
Well, I mean, they're the only species, really. But generally speaking, if there's any kind of game that has more than one core species, then yeah, humans kind of get the short end of the stick almost every time.
Well, like I said, they're the default. So it just depends on, we base everything on a deviation from what we know. So it's like, oh, they're nothing special. It's like, well, kinda. I'm sure an orc thinks that they're really special when it comes to their intelligence. And I'm pretty sure that, halflings think they're pretty special when it comes to reaching the top shelf.
Oh, yeah. Now, once again, I have to cite a Kevin Crawford game on this one, but okay. So Worlds Without Number, Ashes Without Number, Stars Without Number, all the Without Number games do have other races besides humans. But the thing is, in order to play them, you have to give up one of your foci. So it will cost you something. So being a default human isn't necessarily bad, and that's one of the genius of Kevin Crawford's game, is the fact that he allows you to play other races, but it's at a cost that balances them out with humans. And in some cases, if it's a more powerful race, it's going to cost you 2 foci. So it doesn't sound like it's that big of a deal, but when you see all the stuff that you can get out of a foci, it can really, really mess with your character build. So it becomes a choice of, do you really want to play that elf and have to eat up 2 of your valuable skill techniques and everything, or is it worth it just to be a human? Because the elf doesn't really get all that much. Actually, none of the races get all that much for giving up the foci. So
Don't forget that there is an extremely strong argument to be made that the most powerful race in AD&D and in 3rd edition both is human. The extra feat and the free multi-classing and the extra skill points that humans get in 3rd edition pretty much eclipses anything any other race gets, unless you get to the ones that literally cost you levels and count as a class to add the template.
There are those.
Yeah, in AD&D, eventually humans will have more levels than, you have level caps on elves and dwarfs and stuff. So, the human will eventually be the more powerful character, provided you survive that long.
It occurs to me that Earth humans and Traveler are special in that they come from Terran biological lineage, and they're chauvinists.
Humans are OP in Babylon 5 as well.
A little bit. Anyway, oh my gosh, it is.
Oh.
We're at our hour. Grim has to leave, and so do I. Probably should take a look at some more of this again a little bit another time, but I don't know. Just based on what I've seen on it, I don't think I'm all that excited. I mean, yes, I'll still want to get a hardback book just for the collector's thing, because I am a Phantasy Star nut. But I could, I can hold off on playing it. Grim has a date he has to get on to, and so do I, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll stop there for tonight. But thanks for tuning in. And, I think tomorrow I'll be running Ashes Without Number. So join me on my channel, and we'll see you later. Y'all take care.
Peace.
I got to find the outro. Where's the outro?
China, that's where the fun is at. China, that's where the fun is at.
Oh, no, that wasn't it. Oh, here it is.
The great.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams.